Hello there, lovely listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Author to Author podcast. I am your host, Pamela R Haynes, FRSA. Yes, that's right, I was nominated and successfully became a Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, alongside great authors like Charles Dickens, Booker Prize winner Bernardine Evaristo, and Judge Nicole Williams. Last Saturday, I attended the Hartown fundraiser in Haringey, North London. Hartown is the twinning of the London Borough of Haringey and Hoetown in the parish of St James in Barbados. I got to reconnect with my former teachers who were originally from Barbados and make new friends. On Sunday just gone, Petra Baptiste and I held a clubhouse room entitled Daughters of the Caribbean on the subject of enmeshment. It was an informative presentation and lively discussion. Check out our room for future discussions on all things Caribbean. In today's episode, we are stateside interviewing author Rona D. Drinkard and her book entitled Friendship Matters. Let's jump into her interview now. See you on the other side. Hello there, Rona, and thank you for joining me this evening on the Author to Author podcast. How have you been?
I have been great. Glad to be here. Thank you so much, Pam. How have you been?
I'm very well, thank you. Happy to be interviewing you today. Like yourself, I'm a lover of fiction. So to be able to meet and speak to another fiction author is really exciting for me. If I remember rightly, we hooked up and connected on This Brown Girl Reads on their platform.
Yes.
And you were one of the other authors, one of four that was on that evening, if I recall right.
Yes.
Please tell my listeners where you're from, where you live now, and in terms of your heritage, where do you connect with?
So I am originally from Buffalo, New York, the setting of the story, actually. And I currently live in Bowie, Maryland. African-American woman, born and raised, family is from the deep South, Tuscaloosa or Georgia on my dad's side, South Carolina. So it's really, I have those Southern roots, and I was raised in a city that is, it's city life, but it has Southern values. And I think that was something that I also incorporated in the book. Those who read it, I think they connect with that as well. But city girl for the most part.
Thanks for that. And in terms of family life, describe what a typical day is like for you.
I'm a project manager, right? Project management manager. I work from home now, which is really good. And so that's me all day. I'm in loungewear, right? I'm working. And once I disconnect, it's the focus of writing and just interacting with my husband. My husband and I live together, of course. He goes into the office for work. However, when we come home, it's just a reconnection. Like, we have a good time talking, we catch up. He does his thing. I'm, writing or promoting or doing whatever with regards to the book. And I do enjoy that. So that's pretty much a day. And now, then if you add my daughter or my grandbaby, those even more special days where we like to get together and cook and just enjoy family. Very family oriented.
And is that a grandson or granddaughter?
A granddaughter. Her name is Layla. She's 2 going on 3 or 30. It depends on how you look at it.
Absolutely. We've just had our first granddaughter as well. So that's 5 boys and 1 granddaughter. And she's just turned a year old.
What a blessing.
Fantastic to be able to go and visit her and see how she's growing up. And she knows herself. She doesn't take after her father or her mother. She's just uniquely herself and knows her own mind, which is brilliant to see. But thank you for describing what a day might look like in Maryland. And thank you also for gifting us 2 copies of your book, Friendship Matters. And I loved the bracelet. I loved the bookmark that came with it. Why did you do that? And how has that helped you to promote your book?
All of those are pieces that I think give the special touch to the story, to the book. And it to me exudes the type of person that I am. It just gives you that feeling. I'm a very giving spirit. And I just appreciate when people show interest in anything that I do and create. And I have to show it. It's just the way I was raised. I can't just give you the book, right? You got to get a bookmark. You got to get whatever swag I can offer. That's just who I am. And that's how I feel about the story. I think put it all together, you feel like we know one another. You feel like family after. Once you get through the book, you'll feel that way. And I think those small pieces matter to it.
Oh, absolutely. I've still got the bracelet here.
Yeah.
And obviously, whoever wins a copy of this book will also get their bracelet and their
Awesome.
bookmark to go along with the prize. So thank you very much for that.
Yes.
So at what point did you decide that you wanted to write a book?
So I started writing this novel in 2003. I had relocated from Buffalo to Maryland. I'd seen an opportunity. I went back to school, got my master's. I'm like, I'm going to Maryland. You know, I just love to see how well African Americans were doing in this area. Like it seemed like there was no ceiling. You could do anything you wanted to do. But I knew I needed to come here with my master's, not just my bachelor's, because I needed to be competitive. And so when I got here, I realized, although I loved the area, I was missing my family and friends. I just started writing. And originally, when I started this story, it was called Episodes. And it was just, you know, a series of episodes. It was a joke, a running joke. One of my girlfriends back home, it would be a situation happen. And, you know, we would always laugh about it. Girl, I had an episode today. And it started out being called that as I got more into the writing of the story and the characters became so real to me. Friendship Matters became the title that made a significant space in my mind when it relates to these characters. So I finished it in December of 2005. But at that time, all I could afford was to copyright it. And that's all I did. And so actually, I don't know, you can't probably see it, but this painting behind me was the original cover. And I actually decided once I picked it back up to move it forward, that I wanted to go kind of with something different, but this is still near and dear to me. So, you know, it just was a way to reconnect with my family and friends. And it just made me feel closer to them to be able to write, although fiction, but to incorporate the culture, some of the food, some of the music, some of the things we did into the story. Mm-hmm.
And does writing come easy to you?
Well, I'm going to say it comes easy enough, but the challenge becomes when I can start writing. Like, you know, I'll be inspired. I'm sure you experience this as well. You know, there's just some moments where I'm not inspired to write. So you just have to find those pockets or force yourself to kind of jot something down so that you can make progress and go back and, you know, adjust it as needed. But I will say it comes natural.
Did you undertake any creative writing courses? Did you do any workshops or anything like that?
None of that. It's really, so my family used to always say, let Rona tell it. She could tell it right. She tell a good story, you know, let Rona tell a story. So I think that's just something natural for me. And so no, I never took any classes or anything like that.
What was the publishing journey like then? Because it took you at least 3 years from the time you started the book to when you published. How did you find a publisher? How did that journey start? Because writing the book is one thing, trying to get it published is another thing altogether.
Yes. So what happened was when I finished writing it in 2005, I put it down, copyrighted, got it copywritten, and then put it down. I did look at some editing, but I couldn't afford it at the time, right? And so I just didn't touch it. COVID hit. And during COVID, I had told my husband, I said, you know, I've been telling you about this book I've written. And I think this is probably the time for me to take it and move it forward. Because it was like God was saying, you're not going to walk out of here the same way you came in. You got to do something. And we had, 6-7 months off. And it was like I needed to finish what I had started. So what I did immediately was start researching, because you figure that's almost a 17-year gap. So things were different, but more was available. I used Reedsy for my editors. I also have a team of 8, 2 gentlemen and 6 women. And once I had gone through the process of research and I got my cover design, that was JD&J Designs. I got my author photo, and that was by Derek L. Davis Photography. I mean, I went through all of these, did all of my research, and I started with the editors. My husband was the first person to read the book, and that probably is what let me know that I had something. I mean, you write a book, you figure, yeah, I think it's good. I wrote it, right? But when someone who didn't know you at that time reads it, and he's in the basement, and I know what chapters he's in, and I hear him bust out laughing. I'm like, oh, okay, I know where he's at. I know what he just read, So that was a journey. So I had him and a very close friend of mine, Desiree. They were the beta readers. And then the other 6 afterwards got engaged, and it was like a competition of who's going to finish first, because we needed to have a Zoom. And this is still different during COVID. This is 2021 now. Once they all read it, and then we came together, and that hour-and-a-half Zoom meeting turned into 4 hours, I was like, yes. They got to arguing. It was hilarious. Their opinions about certain ways, the characters and different things like that. At one point, I remember stopping them. I said, y'all do realize this is a book, right? These aren't real people. I mean, they were so committed to it. So I will say Donald E. Weiss, he was the proofreader, and he has written and edited for people such as Elin Harris and stuff like that. When he finished the book, he said to me, Rona, is this your first book? I said, yes. He said, well, I'm going to tell you something. You have something. He said, you are going to have a following. You did good coming out the gate with your first book. So it was moments like that that gave me the courage and the motivation to keep pushing forward. And after the team got together and they read it, I knew, I said, I'm ready. We're going to go ahead and publish it. And so that was February 5th, 2022 is when I ended up publishing. I self-published. So it's not
right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well,
Yep.
Congratulations on your debut book. But did you find that your group of 6 people that you had reading the book read a lot more into it than you anticipated? And what was that like?
Well, I'll tell you 3 things that came out of it that has held true today when I hear from other readers. First is that if you asked me before they read it who my target audience was, I would say from the age of 30 to 55, maybe. Women, African-American women. That's what I would say. I found that men loved the book. I was amazed at how well they connected with some of the male characters who were not primary characters, how they chose the female friend that they preferred, right? Like literally. The second thing was Candace was my most difficult character to create. And I didn't know how people would receive her, and they love her. They have been asking for more of her. So that was surprising. And then the third thing was the age target audience is much broader, and by race and by age, because I will say as young as 28 and as old as 82, and every race. And I'm, have spoken. So because friendship, has no color really, right? And because of that, I think they're able to connect with the theme and the culture of the book and not be so focused on the color of the skin. And so that's what that showed me. I mean, it sparked it a little bit. Their interest in Candace, their interest in the male characters. I was like, wow, okay, this is definitely broader than what I expected. I am glad that I did that I had a team of people read first before I published, because it definitely helped me with promoting and how to present it.
Yes, I mean, I didn't have 6. I had three women who read my book. Every chapter that I was able to do, I sent it straight to them to give me feedback in real time. So they acted as my reviewers. and I acknowledge them in the book as well. And the other
Yes.
thing I like about what you're saying, and that is that it's when it's a good story, it doesn't really matter where they're from or what race they happen to be or anything like that. It will be read by everybody who has an
Absolutely.
interest in the subject matter. And friendship is universal, isn't it? You know,
Yes.
friendships matters. And at the time when you were re-editing your book and bringing it together, it made a lot of people realize that actually, you know, work is important and those
Yes.
things are important. But, you know, connecting with people at a time when we couldn't connect, we had to think of other ways of making connections. We had family Zoom calls and
Yes.
family quizzes online so that we could still stay connected.
Yes.
So I think people then realized what was really important, and that's about friends and about family as well.
Absolutely.
But tell me, Rona, how was your book received by family and friends when it finally launched? And what was your book launch like?
Oh my goodness. They were so proud and supportive. My mom, who I dedicated it to, she passed November, 3 months before it was published. But she got to hold the book. It wasn't the fully edited version, but she got to hold it. She and I, so when the cover design was presented to me, it was maybe 4 designs. And everybody picked all these other designs. And I kept saying no. You know, a coffee cup, unfortunately, when I look at a coffee cup, I think, not unfortunate, but I think self-help books more so. So it was a coffee cup design. And I kept saying, no, I can't go with that one because this is fiction. This is, you know, I need something a little different, you know. And my mother and I were the only two that liked the cover that it ended up being. And I went with it. That input, I did share that with my family, even just going through the promotion of it. They were just so proud. My dad, my nieces, my nephews, my siblings, I mean, everybody, my friends, everybody has been supportive from day one. I mean, I think a lot of them are really just proud to be able to say, my niece, my aunt, my daughter, my friend is an author, you know. And then once they got it, I had the release at Morton's in DC, Washington, DC. And they were so amazing with it. And I had my nephew who plays the sax. He was there, him and a friend, they played the sax. We had a signing. I had my girlfriend Desiree, who's a beta reader. She did the reading. My husband introduced me. And I had about 75 people present. And it was just such an amazing, like I have a video on YouTube with it. That's about 2.5 minutes long, but it captures just the moment. And they have been like that since day one. Sometimes we'll go somewhere, and I don't know if you do, but I don't always just announce myself as an author. But I tell you, they will. They will make sure everybody who's in earshot knows. So, I mean, nothing but support that I have received from family and friends, even people that I've met along the way. I mean, you would think we've known each other for years.
Rona, it's wonderful that you were able to celebrate with family and friends, and it sounds as though they're really proud of you as well. I had a recent event to go to, and the host introduced everybody by their first name, but when it came to me, she said, "And this is our author, Pamela
Right.
R Haynes." And I'm like, because I just like to turn up and show up as myself and not necessarily show up in a title. But it's nice when your friends and your family are happy for you and happy that you've
Absolutely.
got through with no doubt it's been a journey when other people are sleeping. You know, you're up typing, editing, thinking of ideas of how to move your story forward and to bring it into fruition. So I can certainly relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell us, what is Friendship Matters about?
So, Friendship Matters is a story that I think captures the strong bond of 3 beautiful ladies who just share with you what it means to be loyal, loving, and incorporating family into your friendship. They're friends, but they're like family, and they support one another in that way. They're all unique. I did that. I created them that way because I believe friendship, that is important. You don't want 3 of the same people who feel the same way, and because you don't grow that way. The story definitely captures them individually. You have Seisha, who's a real estate agent. She's single. She misses her first love. He moved away for a job opportunity, misses him, but her desire is to fill that gap. And in doing so, she sometimes entertains not so single gentlemen. But she really wants to find that type of love again. And she's the sassy character and starts out the book. And then you have Unique, who's a widow, mother of a 9-year-old boy, Tyree. And she's more of the conservative foundation figure of the friendship. She's going to point you in the right direction. She's a psychologist or psychotherapist, as we refer to her in the book. And she makes sure that she holds them all together, so to speak. You know, she can't cook, but Seisha fills that gap for her. And she's going to always be that friend that they can depend on. And then you have Candace, and I think all of us experience that, where we have a friend, but we don't necessarily talk to her every day, but she's still our friend. She's married, a housewife, mother of 2 children, married to a gentleman that is unfaithful often, has been. And what she's decided to do was put her goals and her dreams aside to support his career. And in doing so, you know, you'll find that I don't think she's very happy with her decision. And so it just shares the ties of their lives together and how they end up intertwining and supporting each other as each one of them goes through their ups and downs and trying to find love, happiness, strength, whichever. I mean, it's a feel-good story. A lot of times it's referred to as a romantic comedy, and it's kind of women's friction romance comedy, but it's still one of those stories that is timeless. You find when you read it, you may miss the fact that you don't see text messages. You hear answering machine because it was written in 2003, but it still holds true today because friendship matters. You know, and so that's really, it's just a story that captures the essence of what it means to truly be friends and the bond that they share.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I'm sitting here and I'm reflecting on what you're saying, especially at a time when the media tries to pitch Black women against each other. Hip hop culture describes us as being quite ratchet and unloyal to each other, when that's not necessarily been everybody's experience. You know, it's certainly not been my experience. So it's wonderful when we have books that reflect that they're not monolithic, you know, so the characters are different people, you know, with who come with different experiences, but also women who have compassion for one another and non-judgmental of each other as well. So I can see how your book was worthy of an Indie Today award. You were a finalist. Tell me, do you know who nominated you and how that came about?
So as a self-published author, when you submit for reviews, because that's something that I did starting in 2021, and that was to, you know, I remember in my research, you needed to get, you know, feedback from external agencies and stuff like that. So I looked them all up and I would submit. And you submit, right? You know, there's a fee. Sometimes it's $39, sometimes it's $79, whatever the case may be. So I submitted for all of the 13 awards I won. I submitted for. Some of them were automatically submitted because they reviewed the book. None of these people I know. That is how it was. I want to say Indies Today was one of the first finalist awards that I received. And then since then, I have received all sorts of awards from, you know, several different organizations. And I just was trying to see if what the 6 to 8 people who read the book as a part of my team and my family, do other people feel this way about the book? And what I found is they did. Some of their reviews and write-ups were just amazing. I'm like, you describe my book better than I can. That was a very interesting and exciting experience. I mean, just waiting for it to be announced. Because, you know, for some of the agencies, finalist is second place. That's how they view it. So it's just equally important, you know what I mean? Because you're going up against a lot of people. Some of them is 2,000 authors, some of it's 200. You don't get to know. So, you know, readers' favorite and National Indie Excellence Awards and the Chrysalis Brew Project, which is out of Australia. I mean, they have featured me in their magazine. I've received 2 awards, their Brew Seal of Excellence. It's just really just been international, and it's just been such a blessing.
Congratulations to you
Thank
on your
you.
award so far. And you were also nominated for an award. I think they're called This Black Girl Writes. Did I get that
Black
right?
Girls Who Write. Yep, Black Girls Who Write. Yeah, you and I.
Black Girls Who Write. That's
You
right.
and I.
So
Yeah.
congratulations for being in that category. Do you remember what category that was?
So I was nominated for Author Queen of the Year, also Best New Black Author, and Best New Women's Fiction. Yeah.
I think we were in the same categories, weren't
We
we?
were. We were. And look, you
Yeah.
had 4, okay? Because I think Author to Author was also nominated as well.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And had it not been from you, I wouldn't have known.
Yes,
So thank you for contacting me on
absolutely.
Instagram to let me know that they were being read out.
Yes.
So I was able to enjoy and listening to the latter half of that. And I just think it's just wonderful when people take the time to fill nominations in and to enter you into these things.
Yes,
Sometimes for me, it's more important than actually winning. It's the fact that
absolutely.
someone took the time to do it, which is wonderful. Would you mind reading from your book, please?
Absolutely, absolutely. So Friendship Matters. We start out with Seisha. She had the most spirit in her personality. And I have chapter 1. I actually called it Sassy because that is exactly who she is. So I think she definitely gives you a taste of the writing style, the characters, and what you'll expect once you grab your copy. So I'll start there. And what she's doing here, just to give a little backstory, she's about to, cook breakfast for her best friend, Unique. As I stated, Unique cannot cook. Seisha is the cook of the trio. So she's bringing them in, going to cook breakfast, and then, just having a little small talk. So we'll start there. Keeping secrets from my best friend Unique is almost impossible. She's a psychologist who goes by the title of psychotherapist, and she is always analyzing something. Today, I just don't want to hear it. I gave James some because I wanted to. So what, he has a woman. Last night, he was with me, and I'm okay with that. So when my phone rang at 6:30 this morning, I didn't have to guess who it was. Unique. She calls me at least 3 times a week to cook her breakfast, and almost always on Mondays. The girl loves to eat but cannot cook a decent meal to save her life. I feel so sorry for my godson, Tyree. All that fast food she feeds him is just ridiculous, but I try to make sure he gets 2 or 3 square meals a week. Our friendship goes way back. Unique, Candace, our other best friend, and I have been friends for over 20 years now, and I love them like sisters. Unique and I have disagreed many times, and it's usually because of unwanted advice she gives me. She constantly criticizes the men I date and the choices I make. She only approved of one guy, Lamont, and we all hung really tight during that time. It's in her nature to assist those she loves, even if they don't want it. I know Unique takes friendship very seriously because she will do anything she can for me. Her favorite saying is, Seisha girl, you know he ain't no good for you. God forbid I have a man sitting up here in here when she comes over. Unique will show in all of her body language how much she does not like the situation. For that reason, I make sure she does not come over when I have male company. I know she's right, but I'm grown, and she is not my mother. Still, with all we've been through over the years, I wouldn't trade her nor Candace for the world. We all met freshman year in high school. I remember this one time when Unique and I were at the park chilling with some other girls and guys, and this one dude kept smiling at me. So me, being a little flirt that I am, smiled back. I just knew I was fine. You couldn't tell me anything. When I think about it, hell, I still feel that way. Well, this girl, Tracy, comes over to me talking all sorts of stuff, saying I was trying to steal her boyfriend. Before I could read her behind, out of nowhere comes Unique. She got up all in her face, telling her she better back the F up and ain't no one gonna jump in her friend's face, or she would whoop her like she stole something. I was shocked. I didn't know the girl had a temper nor attitude like that. Then I got pissed at her because she didn't let me get a word in edgewise. I can take care of myself. I didn't need Unique to fight my battles. Plus, I grew up with 2 older brothers. What? Of course, she didn't even care about my attitude. She just walked away saying, ain't no one gonna jump in my friend's face like that. I smiled and followed her. Later, after I thought about it, Unique scared the hell out of me too. I do believe that she would have beaten the mess out of that girl if she had opened her mouth to say one more thing, but lucky for Tracy, she didn't. She just turned around with her hand on her imaginary hip and whispered to her girlfriend, she better be glad I had to go because I would have whooped her behind. I knew from that point on, Unique and I would be friends for a very long time. I liked her being on my side. Gives you a taste of the both of them.
Of course, what an introduction.
What an introduction.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. So thank you for that. So tell me, do you have a best friend?
Honestly, I have a lot of best friends, believe it or not. I have best male and female friends. The ones that I've had the most years with, I would say, are my girlfriend Desiree, who's also a beta reader, my girlfriend Regina, godmother of my daughter, and I'm now godmother of her twins. And then you have my best male friend, Kelvin and Jeff. They are friends. We all met summer EOP, Equal Opportunity Program in college. So we were all 18. And so that's been about 35 years. And then I have some friends just growing up, probably longer than that. So I do have a larger pool probably than most. We are as thick as thieves, seriously. Yes.
So tell me, what qualities do you look for in a friend?
Well, honestly, for me, it's a spiritual connection for me. Your spirit matters to me. And so, and I keep those people around me as well. Like if I invite you into that fold, you have to be a good mix. And I just look for people that like to have good conversation, quality interactions. You know, we can talk about anything. We can give opinions or feedback or advice and not fall out about it. I do understand that we're all different, so it may have to come to me one way and I may be able to say it to another friend a different way. But as long as it's said and it's loyal and it's done in love, we've managed to maintain a friendship like that for the years that we have. And it's just because we just have, just to me, it's a spiritual connection is what I would call it more than anything. Same spirit, different personalities.
It's interesting that you say that because it feels as though the last chapter of your book is dedicated to your friendships when each character mentions why, you know, what love means to them.
Yes.
It seems like an ode to friendships, you know, everywhere, to the whole circle.
Yes.
Was that deliberate?
It was not. It was actually written as a dialogue. It probably would have been read as a play when I first wrote it. And I was having fun with it. But I think it also added to the personalities and their perceptions, you know what I mean? Again, of how they view the world. A lot of my friends, it was so funny when they got the book, they just knew they were going to be in it. Oh, I know I'm in this book. I'm in this book. I'm like, you're not. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. You're not. And I would tell them all the time because the characters really are me, pieces of me. And I just went with it. I took pieces of myself and went with it. Once they finally read it and realized, well, I guess she didn't put me exactly in here, but everybody has chosen a character. I'm Seisha. I'm Unique. I'm Candace. So in that sense, it probably, I could see why you would read that way, because most, especially friends, they just, you know, family too, they thought they were going to be in the book and they were not. But it was, I thought that dialogue that they had about love was really more about what's important to me. This is what I would be looking for. This is what I would need. And this is what I won't have. And it just added to their personalities, I thought.
Well, I felt it was beautifully written.
Thank
So even
you.
if it wasn't intentional, I could see why your friends and family came to that conclusion and felt
Yes.
that they were part of
Mhm.
it. But you said the end, maybe, question mark.
Maybe.
So is this a sequel? Is it a trilogy or will it be a series of books?
That's where I'm still working to figure that out. I am working on the sequel. There has been, excuse me, comments made that I could probably write a book on each character. They could have their own book, and I believe I could. Have I decided to do that? Not yet, but right now the focus is on the sequel, and people have been asking, they want more about Candace, and so that is who I've started with, and I'm having fun with that. So yes, I'm working on the second book, and I hope to have it finished by the end of this year.
What would be the title of the second book?
Oh goodness. I tell you, right now I'm calling it Friendship Matters sequel because I don't know about you, but I have to get further in before the title really hits me. Because we start writing and you have a plan, you outline and think of where you want to go with it, and then you start writing and other things, it just branches out. And so I'm not sure yet what the title is. So right now it's just drafted as Friendship Matters sequel.
And
Mhm.
what is the plan or the dream or the vision for your books? What would you like to happen with them?
I think what is happening with them is I want that to grow more. I find that the same voice that I chose and wrote in for the Friendship Matters, I want that voice to continue in the sequel. I would like for people to read the book and almost forget that they're reading like they have done with the first one. Relate to it, choose a character, feel like you know these people, because that to me speaks volumes. It says that I've written something that connects. And as a creative, you want to connect with those people who support whatever your gifting is. So I think that that's what I would like to continue. I mean, now I'm doing having Friendship Matter happy hours, which has been a blast. They're loving those things. And I plan to do a retreat. I think just showing people that as Black women, friendship, we always knew this. Friendships always from the beginning, I think, always mattered. I mean, you had family members that you call auntie. They weren't blood. They were your mom's best friend. She's auntie. And I think being able to do that, showing the other side of what the media portrays and continuing that on, that is what I want to do because that is what I live. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic, Rona. Tell us more about the Friendship Matters Hour. I did see something on Instagram
Yes,
where you were toasting, everyone was toasting, very similar, look just like the cover
absolutely.
of your books. But so tell
Yeah.
us more about the Friendship Hours.
So what we're doing with the happy hours is just picking like a day in the month, inviting, right now is invitation only, people just grabbing people that we know collectively, myself, my team, and they invite people. And we pick a place and we just come together and have drinks, good food, live music, laugh and talk and meet. We started that this year. So February was the second one. And we're going to different restaurants within the area. So we call this area DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. We've been doing Maryland. We'll be going closer to Virginia, DC soon, and then we'll hit Virginia. But just moving it around the Beltway so that people can come together and just have a good time. It's not necessarily set up where I'm reading a book or I'm signing. I do bring books, people buy if they want to, but it's really just about inviting other women into the fold, and it will be open to men as well very soon. But it's just been a good time and they have loved it, and they're hitting me up and they're like, let me know about the next one. So month by month we're just moving to different locations, and it's just sharing the essence of my friendships and how I interact with the people, and showing you that this book was written according to who I am as a person. And so when you come around, you feel that way. As soon as they come in, we hugging you because we're a touchy group of friends. Like, I need to touch you. because your spirit matters to me, you know? So it's not just the shaking of the hand, it's, hey, how are you? Because if you're a friend of Rona's, then you're a friend of mine. Or if you're a friend of Desiree's, you're a friend of mine, because we connect with good people. And that's what I want to do.
That's absolutely fantastic. Very much reminds me of my books where the women meet once a month, the Wednesday after they get paid.
Yes.
They call it Westfield Wednesday. Westfield is a massive shopping centre in London. They meet up once a month, talk through things over good food, over cocktails, and so
Yes.
on. But it's also where the women meet to plan their escape from their toxic relationships as well and get
Right.
support from the group. So yes, definitely relate to that. So
Yeah.
Friendship Matters has evolved from not just being a book about friendship, but it sounds like a meetup,
Yeah.
perhaps a movement, t-shirts on sale alongside your bracelets and other
Yes.
things. It just seems like there's loads of avenues that the book can go down. But
Yes.
you spoke earlier about perhaps Friendship Matters being a play or, film or miniseries. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I'm very open to that. That has been something a lot of people, they're like, I can see it as a series, I can see it as a movie, as a play. Very open to that. I do have an agent, House of Bohannon. And so we're just kind of putting fillers out and seeing how well it's received in various avenues. And so the way I look at it is whatever God has for it, I'm here for it, right? Because if it was up to me, I would have published probably back in 2006, and I don't think it would have been as received as it is today. So this was God's plan. It wasn't mine. Whatever comes from that, I'm definitely here for it. That's the way I look at it. Mm-hmm. If it was a movie, though, I think I want to act too. I want to be somebody in the movie. Maybe just Niles the hairdresser. I'm gonna do something. I don't know.
So not necessarily one of the three women, one of the principal
No, I don't.
characters.
I don't want to be one of the main characters. But yeah, I just want to be in it.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I wish you all the best with that because
Thank
I
you.
do think it lends itself to being in film, and it would be wonderful to see that happen for you. Can you tell us any more about what your future plans might be, writing wise?
I will continue down this path. There is a book that I want to write. It'll still be in the fiction genre, but it will capture the blend, how we have some of our families are blended, different mothers or different fathers. In my family, we are blended in that way, and people don't even know it. They can't tell. And it's like the perfect blend. And so I think that's a story that I want to write. I have not started that, but I think I will continue that. To me, this is the direction in which my life is going now. I enjoy it, and I'm enjoying the experience, the journey. I've learned a lot. I think that's what it'll be. Writing will be my primary eventually.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I also like the direction of travel, that there will be other books as well, not just the series, but other
Yes.
books outside of that. And I look
Yes.
forward to reading it because we're a blended family as well. I like to think it's seamless most of the time.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of families now are coming with, husbands are coming with children from previous
Absolutely.
marriages and vice versa as well. So that would be
Mm-hmm.
interesting to put that into a book. And I'm glad that you've chosen fiction as well because it gets away from identifying people,
Yes.
people getting caught in their feelings about
Yes.
a particular book or what you've written. So yes, I look forward to that. Rona, if people wanted to get hold of you, can you let us know your social media handles, please?
Sure, sure. I am on all platforms at Rona D Writes, WRITES. And my website is www.ronadwrites.com. I have a YouTube channel. I am having a blast with TikTok. If you want to hear some snippets from each character, you can follow me on TikTok. Just really any type of social media. I try to post at least 3 times a week to keep connected with the readers and just connect with other authors. I enjoy that as well. That's me on social media, same handle at Rona D Writes.
Thank you. And you also have a website as well. Did you mention it?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Yeah.
www.ronadwrites.com.
Fantastic. And if people want to get a copy of your book, how would they do that?
So now I have the Brown bookmark series kind of out for Black History Month. So those are only available on my website. So I sell the hardcovers and the paperbacks, autographed copies you can get directly from the website. I'm also on Amazon for paperback and Kindle. And then pretty much you can find any ebook version that you're looking for. So I'm available various areas. That's ebook via Barnes and Noble, Apple Books, Kobo. Just, I try to make sure I connect it with all of them.
Is there an audiobook coming, and would you read it yourself?
What do you think? I don't know. I don't like the way I sound, but I think I could. But it's too many voices, right? Like, I think it would have to be 3 people at least to do the audio, but I want to do that so much. I am working on it. I
That's
don't know
fantastic.
though. Yeah.
Well, I personally think that your voice is incredible, especially when you were reading from your book. So
Oh,
there's
thank
no
you.
doubt in my mind that you couldn't do it yourself. But as there are 3 different characters, quite distinct characters who
Yes,
have their own voices, so it could be you and maybe 2 others,
maybe.
or 3 narrators. But I would like to see it as an audiobook. I would say 90% of my reading at the moment is by audiobooks and Audible. And the other 10%, I've worked out now that Alexa can read from my Kindle. So I've been enjoying books that way as well. I've
Okay.
managed to connect my Kindle and Alexa. So when I'm doing things, I can have the book in the background. So that's another way that I've learned to read the volume of books that come my way
Okay.
as well.
Yeah.
But
I
Rona,
have to try that.
yeah, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us this evening on the Author to Author podcast. It's been great having you. I want you to make me one promise,
Yes.
which is when you release your other books, you'll come back to us and we can
Absolutely.
re-interview you again. Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me. I'm so honored. I said, UK. Oh my God. I was just like, oh my God. I haven't even visited yet, but I'm coming. I need to visit
You
London.
haven't visited the UK yet.
Oh,
We're going to have to find a way. We're going to have to
find
find
a
a way.
way.
It
Yes,
would be my
please.
honor to show you around, to show you what London is like. So
Oh, I would
we'll have
love
to see
that.
how we can make that happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Okay, bye bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed my interview with Rona as much as I enjoyed interviewing her. It's competition time now. Building on the themes in her book, Rona meets up with friends on a monthly basis. What are the meetups called? To win a copy of her book, contact me on Instagram or Facebook with the correct answer by this coming Friday at 5 p.m. British Summer Time. Good luck and have a wonderful week ahead. Bye for now.